Good morning and welcome to your Farm and Home Show. I'm Kristi Shive, and this morning we're visiting with Lynn Blankenship. She's Metcalfe County's Family and Consumer Sciences Extension Agent. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Kristi. Thanks for having me on today.
Thanks for being with us, Lynn. Always a pleasure. Now, summer is grilling season, and today you are going to talk to us about food safety when it comes to grilling.
Yes, grilling is fantastic because in the summer we want to keep the heat out of the house, and the grilling and cooking on the grill is a fantastic way to cook outdoors. And cooking outdoors though does have some challenges when we're thinking about food safety. Really, you can't grill meat from frozen, so you have to think about thawing your meat safely. And the best way to do that is thinking ahead of time. If you're cooking something from frozen, you want to think a couple of days in advance. Take it out of the freezer, put it in the refrigerator so that when you're ready to grill it, it will be thawed. And really doing that is the safest way to thaw meat. Thawing meat on the counter, leaving it out for an hour or two is not a safe way to thaw meat, because when you leave meat out at room temperature, the bacteria that are present on the meat begin to rapidly reproduce the longer it sits out. It's not recommended to wash cuts of meat either. That's something that you need to think about as well, because you may seem like, I'm going to open this up, I want to wash it and pat it dry before I'm actually going to cook it, but really all that does is spread the bacteria that are present on the meat around in your sink and in your kitchen, and increases the risk for cross contamination. So thawing safely in the refrigerator is your best bet ahead of time. So thinking ahead about what you're going to have, getting it thawed. And also using two separate cutting boards. Having a dedicated cutting board for vegetables and a dedicated cutting board for your meats helps also to prevent cross-contamination when you're thinking about food safety. And preparing your vegetable ingredients first before the meat ingredients is also a good strategy to help decrease the likelihood that you're going to get some of that meat juice onto your vegetables, especially if you're having raw vegetables like a salad. You want to make sure that you do that before you even take that meat out of the refrigerator and get it done, and then you can focus on your meat. So once you're grilling, you want to think about using a meat thermometer so that you can ensure that you're cooking your meat to the appropriate internal temperature for the type of meat that it is. For beef, pork, lamb, and veal steaks, roast, and chops, you want to get to 145-degree internal temperature. And if you're cooking something thin like a burger or a pork chop, you're going to stick that thermometer in the side in about 1.5 inches to 2 inches into the piece of meat. And you'll be able to tell. If you're cooking something like a whole chicken, you want to stick the thermometer in the thickest part of the meat in about 1.5 inches to 2 inches deep. And then allow the thermometer a minute or two to come up to temperature. And when it stops moving up, that's the temperature that you're at. So for chicken, for ground meats like a burger, you want to cook it to 160-degree internal temperature. And for poultry, breasts and ground poultry, we're looking at 165 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, Lynn, if anyone is watching and they want information about what you just went over, do we have that information available to the public?
UK has a lot of food safety information about grilling, and the USDA also has the Grill Like a Pro campaign. There's a nice infographic that reminds you all of the safety things that we just talked about when it comes to grilling. And we just missed the last point, which is when you take your meat off the grill, you want to put it on a clean platter and not one that has meat juices from the raw meat on it.
All right, Lynn, so many great points covered today. Thank you so much for being with us. If you are watching and would like more information, be sure to contact your local extension office. Thanks for joining us today on the Farm and Home Show, and we'll see you next time.